We have a replacement for Rodney Childers at Spire Motorsports. RCR loses their appeal. We'll explain why. And Kyle Larson at Indianapolis has got both America and F1 fans talking. So with the shock announcement of Rodney Childers and Spire Motorsports parting ways effective immediately, Justin Haley has a new crew chief. Welcome everyone back to an episode of Inside Lines. My name is Jet. Hope you're having a wonderful day. The new crew chief that will be on top of the number 7 pit box beginning this weekend at Talladega will be Ryan Sparks. Now Ryan Sparks is a familiar name to the people of Spire Motorsports. He has been a former crew chief to Corley Joy in the past, has had some experience working with Justin Haley in the past, and is an integral part of the competition side at Spire Motorsports. So this is not an unusual name to appear out of the box, but multiple things that we have to keep in mind. Number one, how will this affect the performance? Remember, in the past month or so, Spire Motorsports and the number 17 specifically have lost their pit crew, their car chief, who has gone over, Cheddar Smith, who's gone over to Joe Gibbs Racing in the number 54 team with Ty Gibbs, and now their crew chief in a span of 1 month. How will this affect Justin Haley? How will this affect his mindset? Now he has to go into, not only Talladega, but after Talladega, goes to Texas, Kansas, Charlotte, Pocono, tracks like that in the next few races coming up. How will this affect not only the 7 team in terms of their performance, but also maybe his mindset now that he's basically starting with a brand new team as he comes back from the off week? They will have some time to be able to prepare. Not only have they had this off week to prepare, but also with Talladega, since it is a crapshoot type of race, in a sense, it is another week off. At least it's not about the performance on racetrack. It's just about the drafting and also about luck. So they have some time to be able to prepare to get adjusted to how they work with each other and how will they prepare for their first real test, which will be Texas the week after Talladega. I mean, still though, it's just unusual. Why Rodney left and why now? Again, not even a quarter of the way into, or about a quarter of the way into the season. Why now? I do think it maybe has to do in part with the departure of Cheddar Smith to Joe Gibbs Racing. Maybe just Rodney and Spire, they realized this wasn't a good fit. Maybe Rodney realized maybe this wasn't the team that was meant for me. I mean, considering where you look at where Rodney Childers was at a championship team with a championship driver, Kevin Harvick, Stewart Haas Racing, when they were at their peak, at their prime, and how him going to a midfield team, not so much a back marker, but to a midfield team that is still growing. Maybe he could have thought of, this probably wasn't the right decision for me. I know Spire Motorsports, they put out a statement that made it look like they made the decision to part ways, but I do feel like this was two parties coming together and realized it was best to go in different directions. Rodney, he has been very cryptic on social media, and by cryptic, I mean he's just posted 2 photos, one with his wife and another with him doing some home improvement or something with fishing. So he hasn't given off any details. He did say he wanted to spend some time with his family, reevaluate what he wants to do with his future in NASCAR potentially. I do think that Rodney will come back eventually to a top of the pit box, but it will be at a top tier team with a top tier driver. Who that is, obviously, we'll have to wait and see. Next up we got is RCR. As expected, they lost their appeal, meaning it is official. Sammy Smith is the race winner from Rockingham for the Xfinity Series, and Jesse Love has been disqualified. Now, on the last episode, we mentioned as to what they were looking at, what determined that the number 2 car was deemed disqualified from the race, and it was a separation in the truck arm on the rear of the car. It was not in complete contact. Now, the panel did put out a statement that said that they could not determine whether or not it was intentional or not, the separation, or that the truck trailer arm between that and the U-bolt saddle was not connected fully. They don't know if it was intentional or not, because it happens sometimes in racing, and Jesse Love did have a pretty eventful race where they may hit a wall or something. It could break something, or it could cause a separation. Other times, NASCAR or the race teams, because this is the Xfinity Series, they still have fabricators, they still have people that are building the cars in shop. They could also design parts that are meant over time or meant in a race to separate. So again, the panel said, listen, we cannot determine whether or not this was intentional or not. And because of that, they lost the appeal. Not surprising. I think everybody knew that no way they're going to overturn this. This was going to remain the same as a DQ for the number 2 car. Let's talk about what happened in Indianapolis, as both got NASCAR fans, IndyCar fans, and F1 fans talking. We're talking about Kyle Larson trying to attempt the double for the second time this year in 2025. Well, in turns 1 and 2, he finally did something that we were surprised to see happen much later into his IndyCar career. He found the wall. There's always been this thing at Indianapolis when you're trying to test and compete for the Indy 500. You don't know the limits until you've hit the wall, and Kyle Larson did just that in turns 1 and 2. Got a bit high, bam, smacked the wall hard, and then he went into the warm-up lane, come back up, hit the wall again. Now, he was okay and released from the infield care center. He wasn't the only driver to also have issues. 2-time Indy 500 champion Takuma Sato also hit the wall during practice. He was also checked and released A-OK from the infield care center. So that is great to see. Now, he came up with a response that was very blunt of Kyle Larson, so very typical of Larson's personality. Kind of funny, kind of dark. Says that I'm happy to crash my first Indy car and live through it. Obviously, we know when you're traveling at speeds like they're traveling at 230, I think the highest top speed was 235, 236. Yeah, when you're going that fast at an oval, things can happen. I mean, so many crashes I can think of. What immediately first come to mind was Sebastian Bourdais years ago at Indy, where he crashed in qualifying, major injuries he suffered in that accident. And that was just in qualifying. I mean, you are at the brink of glory of winning it, and you're at the brink of disaster when you're racing at Indianapolis in an Indy car. So yeah, I think that's pretty dark for Larson to say that, but it is the reality that you're going at speeds, at incredible speeds at an oval, and things can happen. So it is just the reality of the situation that he's in. I don't think it's going to hinder his chances. I don't think he's going to back up. He's a race car driver. They are used to, known to block into the things that happen. Whereas, okay, listen, it moved on. I'm okay. Let's move on to the next thing. So I don't think this is going to have any issues with him maybe backing off, or him maybe, ooh, I found the limit. Let me back off a little bit. Knowing Larson, he's like, oh, here's a limit. Let's see if I could go that limit again, but find a way to make it work, you know? Larson will be fine. He is going to get more and more confident as he gets more comfortable with the race car. He already has prior experience to it. Now he's got his experience of what it's like to wreck in an Indy car. Now, he said the reasoning for him crashing was because he forgot to adjust the weight jacker, which, if you don't know, I know this is a NASCAR show, if you don't know, that is a tool that IndyCar drivers can use to adjust the weight distribution on the rear of the car. And it's used to fine-tune handling on oval tracks, so they can adjust the weight distribution and affects how the car turns or behaves in different racing conditions. So yeah, again, I know this is NASCAR audience, but these are things that I feel like some of us need to understand as to why certain drivers crash in IndyCar. It's not like in NASCAR, it's, oh, he just got tight. In IndyCar, it's a bit more complex than that. But now let's talk about why this got everyone talking. We mentioned this got IndyCar fans talking, got NASCAR fans talking, but also got F1 fans talking. And I just want to include this just because it is kind of funny, and it's also an ongoing discussion. F1 Troll, a very popular account in the F1 community, tweeted this out, saying that Larson says he's better than Max Verstappen. Also Kyle Larson. Of course, that caused a huge controversy, huge discussion, as we know that Kyle Larson famously said that he thinks he's better than Max Verstappen. And still to this day, anytime Kyle Larson does something where he wrecks or anything like that, there's always that comment that comes up, and Larson said he was the best driver in the world. So I know it's a troll account, but just to say this, I can't believe I have to say this, but I'm telling you right now, F1 drivers are great at F1. That does not make them the best racing drivers in the world. They're just great at F1. You put an F1 driver in an IndyCar series, especially at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Indy 500, they will struggle. Now, I know people say, what about Marcus Ericsson? Marcus Ericsson, you know, he's an Indy 500 winner and formerly raced in F1. As for Larson himself, he will not be back on track until I believe the Tuesday prior. And yes, that is true. He did win the Indy 500, but I'll also respond to that by saying his first 2 attempts, he finished 23rd and 32nd. So let's just calm down here. I know F1 drivers have won at Indianapolis. Jacques Villeneuve has won at Indianapolis. Emerson Fittipaldi. I know that. But let's be real here. Just because an F1 driver is great at F1, that doesn't mean it's going to translate and have them be great at IndyCar, especially Indy ovals. And do I also have to mention Fernando Alonso? I mean, McLaren didn't even make it in 2018, and Fernando Alonso also has hit the wall prior when competing for the Indy 500. So again, this is just to calm those F1 elitists down. Like, calm down a little bit, but y'all need to chill. Now, as for Larson himself, the tub of the car is fine. You know, they are going to be able... Now, as for the car itself with Kyle Larson, the tub of the car is fine. That's the most important part. They'll be able to fix the car, get it back up and ready to go. However, we won't see Kyle Larson in that race car. They did not participate in the final 3-hour test session. The next time you will see Larson at Indianapolis will be the Tuesday prior to Indy 500 qualifying. So, again, very excited to see what happens with Larson, to see how he will do there. I will say, as a closing statement, if you're going to crash at Indy, if you're going to go over the limit, best that you do it now. So, yeah. But what are your thoughts on any of those 3 stories? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Thanks for watching.